What's up, guys? My name is Coach Beau. I'm here today to talk about how to improve your ring dips, okay? Now, to start, there's a lot of stretching that we can do. I'm gonna show you one of my personal favorites. It's called the German stretch, okay? The reason why I'm bringing this up is because the biggest position that I find people having trouble with is that front part of the dip with the shoulder. So to get into it, it's very simple. You're gonna come down on your butt, put your feet out in front of you, turn your hands facing the opposite side, okay? Now, if you're new to this, start with a little wider grip. Typically, you want a shoulder width grip. Okay, from here, you just wanna walk your feet out and slowly move that butt forward. Okay, you're just gonna go until you feel a light stretch from here. I can move my head back to get that bigger stretch. Think about opening and pushing my chest forward. Now, the goal is to try and work your way back as far as you can and then straighten out those arms until you're in that nice position. Holding for about 30 seconds. Okay, you can do this 3 times. This is gonna get really nice in the front part here, going through our shoulders. Now, talking about strength work, the most important part that I find is the static holds, okay? The top part and the bottom part of our ring dip, okay? So let's go over the top and bottom really quickly. Now, remember, when we set up our rings, we want to have them shoulder width apart. If they're too far apart, it's gonna have our arms. It's gonna make it a lot harder for us to be stable. Same thing if the rings are too in, the straps are just gonna get in our way. So make sure they're shoulder width apart. We're gonna make sure that we're holding the rings around. We're not holding with our thumbs on the outside. We're having both hands on the inside. From here, I'm gonna focus on jumping up. When I jump up, I'm gonna have my hands slightly turned out. Now, the biggest thing that I see in terms of having the rings slightly turned out is that a lot of people like to think about turning the wrist fully out, okay? But when I turn my wrist fully out, then my chest is still caved, so then I get this nice wobbly action, okay? Remember, we wanna stack the weight through our body. So when we jump up, think about pinching our shoulder blades back, keeping our chest up tall, pressing our palms down, and then what I wanna think about is turning my full arm open slightly. This way I can keep my weight stacked. The back of my palm is then gonna go right into my hip and give me that nice tall position. So if I get set up, I'm gonna jump up really nice and easy, turn those arms out slightly, my chest is up tall, okay, there's no way to exaggerate, you can just go slightly out. I'm gonna hold up here for our top position, okay? Now, the bottom position I find is going to be the hardest, like I said, because of that stretch. A lot of people aren't used to being in this tucked over position, okay? Now, another big issue that I see is that people like to cave the chest in. So always think about keeping that chest up tall. Remember, when we ring dip, we want to think about coming straight down in a line. We're keeping that weight stacked. We're not thinking about letting ourselves dip fully forward, okay? When we dip fully forward, then all our weight's going to be on our shoulders there, which makes it hard. So what I like to think about is when I come forward, you either can lower the rings down to our belly button, or you can jump up and lower. When I jump up and lower down, I'm thinking about keeping those rings slightly out. My chest is still tall. Elbows are back. Notice how my chest is up. I'm not going to come down and let my chest dip forward, because if I dip forward, now my chest is dropping down through here. It's a lot more pressure on my shoulders, and it's going to be a lot harder to do. Okay, this can also be done with a bungee, but for time's sake and also get stronger faster, go and do negatives. So you can go up, jump up, hold as long as you can, or what you can do is you can jump up to that top position of our strict hold and then slowly lower as slow as we can to the bottom position. For our bottom position work, we can focus on staying on our toes. So we can lower the rings just a little bit if we need to, or you can focus on staying on your toes at the bottom, keeping our chest up tall, head forward, focusing on holding that position. You can put a box behind us, just focusing on keeping that weight less and less, but keeping stacked throughout our whole arms, okay? Now, working on strength. After you're able to hold around 15 seconds, 20 seconds in both positions, we can start moving to the dip on the bench and on the rings. Now, first, if we're gonna do the bench, we're gonna have 2 benches next to each other. You've probably seen people doing this for scaling on a box on either end. You can do the same thing, but you should find something about knee height or right below hip height. What we're gonna be focusing on is shoulder width apart. A lot of times when I see people do this, they like to walk away from the box. When I do this, we get into that weird, awkward position when our chest drops and I'm really far forward and puts all the pressure on the top of our shoulders here in the front. So think about walking back so my butt is now in line with my hands. This time when I sink, I can keep my chest up, and when I sink straight down, This is mimicking the same exact effect that we're doing on our rings, okay? This can also be done for static holds. I can hold up here as long as I can and put my feet up on something if I need to, or I can go down to this bottom position and also hold here to help me build that static hold position. Now let's scale up from here. We can lower the rings down. I always like to tell people, make sure that the bottom of the rings is right at the top of our knees. It's a good starting point for where we want to be and how high the rings are from the floor. So again, focus on having the rings slightly turned out. We're stacking those arms. I'm going to set myself up so my feet are right in front of me. I'm not letting myself walk forward so my hands come back. I'm setting up so I'm stacking my weight. Chest is tall. From here, I can send my arms back, sit straight into that pocket, come straight up to the top, open up those arms. Again, I can use this as a static hold, stay here as long as I can, or I can come down to the bottom and hold here as well for that static hold position, okay? Or I can just do my dips regularly. So, hand in hand, first start with the static holds, 3 times, 30 seconds, get the stretching in that we did for that German stretch. Then we can go to the bench as our next phase. Again, 3 sets of 10, 60-second rest in between, and then finally work our way back to the rings, slowly getting higher and higher and higher. All right, guys, give it a try. Let me know how it works. I'll catch you next time.